to explain why I use iPhone to make movies sometimes or photography. Movies, the reason was the budget. I mean, I started making movies with 35 millimeter film. Film school it was 16. Then Super 16 I used as well as 35 millimeter. And there was a time when my movie Mille Soya, Buongiorno Italia came out. When it was in Mannheim Film Festival, I remember there were some critics were telling, or actually there was a critic written like, why would this guy go and make such a waste of film when you could do digital filmmaking? This was around early 2000s, like 2002, 2003, I can't remember exactly. But what they didn't know was that in Sri Lanka, going into, that was more like, at that time it was digital tape to film. You shoot on digital tape and then you transfer to, it was called tape to film, I remember. And a lot of Europeans, Americans were doing that. And they were complaining why I didn't do that. Why did I went into such a heavy production with film? The problem was, at that time of the age, digital was so expensive. To shoot on film and doing a transfer was like crazy. Film was cheaper. I was kind of sad with that critique, but then again I realized, probably the guy who wrote the critique didn't know even about how the films were made in Asia, and especially like a country like mine, South Asia, like Sri Lanka. So in Mille Soya, I had to use, to show the difference of a definition and for budget reasons, all of these things, I used 35 millimeter as well as Super 16 and VHS. VHS was used because I needed to get that television sort of look. Those days, VFX was not available for us, independent filmmakers like myself. I mean, today I have my own VFX company that we do Elephant and the Mouse, which I did for Martha, and I created that to do my own magic. I needed to do it because hiring was very expensive, so I started my own thing. So, so getting back to the movies, and then I shot my first, actually it was Sri Lanka's first HD, digital movie, Alone in a Valley, Nimne Kahuda Kalawa. We shot it in 2008, but actually the film got released in 2017, 9 years later, because we had complications. There were editing complications. We were trying to work with, not only that, I had another project called Mata, which was completely shot on HD as well. But Nimne Kudakala was very clearly, the Alone in a Valley was the very first digital film that Sri Lanka ever did, because when I talked to my cinematographer Channa, he really refused to do it. Then I said, look, we do a test with like whatever the cameras you want. Then he said, I told him, like, there's this one camera called Sony EX, let's go with that. But he said, no, let's check everything. And he even had Betacam and whatnot, all the different kind of cameras. And then we went the all way. We transferred it to film, and then we screened that film in our large theater, Cine City, like it's a huge theater. And he agreed. He said, okay, let's do it. But the time, like when we started the film and when we shot it in 2 weeks. We shot the entire film in 2 weeks. But editing was a little complicated, and then I got this big project called Martha, which I always loved to do a war film. So I went in and did that war film. And it was, and I felt I needed to do that for certain reasons. And then I got back to this, and editing was kind of complicated, and it took some time because the subject matter of Alone in a Valley itself is complicated. I think it's like, in a way, it's the first psychological sci-fi kind of horror and suspense thriller. It had all those elements, so it was kind of difficult. I was kind of basing Carl Jung's philosophy in a way, in a certain things, and then synchronicity, and actually it was called synchronicity in the first place in English, and then my co-writer Chintana said, "Why don't we use Alone in a Valley? That's nice." And I said, "Okay, let's do that." And so that was the first digital film of Sri Lanka, as far as we know. And then after that, we went on Martha, also total full digital, and but that was digital, and then in transferred to film. So it was screen, not DCP, but pellicula film. And when Alone in a Valley came out many years later, because of the delays we had, that was DCP. During this time, I wanted to, after Martha, after getting all these negative, all these people talking about the concept of the movie and why I did it, they just, people just, some of my American friends asked me like, dude, are they angry with you? They write like this, and I was like, I don't know. So anyway, the critics were not critiquing the movie; they were criticizing me. So whatever it is, then I needed to do something totally different. So I didn't have a budget, so I got together with bunch of young filmmakers, and we started doing Adventures of Ricky Dean on iPhone. I only had an iPhone. I had 2 iPhones, so I said like, hey, why not? Let's use this. And my composer, Lakshman Joseph Deseram, he said, look, there's something that I am doing. I'm making some music. I would like you to make a movie for that. And I thought that's a great opportunity. I can use this concept, Adventures of Ricky Dean, and used his. What he did was he conducted certain and his ensemble were playing some European composers' music, like Schubert, Schumann, and I can't remember who else, but we got those things, and we made the film for the feelings that I felt with those movies, with those music, and I wanted to express film for music. Usually it happens the other way, but we did that, and that's Adventures of Ricky Dean, and now it's being made into a feature. So that was because of budget, not that I wanted to show anybody that I can do with iPhone, but merely there was no budget, so we did it as we went along. Available, you could have 3 cameras for no budget basically, and there was a joke. The actors developed like saying, hey, hold on, there's the camera is ringing, there's a call coming into the camera. So we had to stop shooting sometimes because we had not enough iPhones to have ones without chips, because sometimes I had to use that for my other reasons, like other calls or whatever it is. So with that, I started developing a very, very intimate relationship with iPhones, and I had my iPhone, and I was getting the habit of recording things when I did something or we were doing something, and going around the country all the time. So I started doing things on live on Facebook. I immediately uploaded or either did a live gig. With that, I had a trip to, a group of us had a pilgrimage to Buddha Gaya and the tour in India. where Lord Buddha's connections and all the history which was there about Buddhism. And then I started uploading pictures, little clips and everything. With that, I started taking pictures, still pictures on the move. So everything is, I started calling it drive-by shooting, and my friends say like, hey, that's like a mafia movie. So everything, because I never, most of the time, I didn't stop to take pictures. Just whatever, whether it was a car, whether it was a motorbike, or whether it was like a bus, I just clicked and started clicking. And now, of course, there are stills I take without moving also, but most of my iPhone photography is on the move. So that's why I call it drive-by shooting. And so with that, I am starting to develop this new sort of experimental kind of mode into iPhone photography. So this page is dedicated to that, and for people who are interested, and people who are interested in my work, and also people who wants to maybe buy my work and they can have them or whatever. So thank you for coming in here and watching the video. And also, if you like these, go to my channel, Boodee Keerthisena YouTube channel, and if you like, please do subscribe and like the video as well if you like it. Thank you so much for joining again. Have a great day.